Hi there. Welcome to the Agent Builder session in this particular mini-series on building agents for Microsoft 365 Copilot. I'm your host today, Michael Gannotti, and I'll be walking you through how to leverage the power of Agent Builder. It is my favorite place to do agents because it is quick, easy, and it is powerful. And I do them all the time for myself. In fact, one of the demos that we're going to do today, I deleted my own personal one just so we could do it here with you. So without further ado, we're going to get started. I do have some housekeeping. So for our agenda, first of all, in housekeeping, if you are looking for the recording of this, it is being recorded. I will be posting the recording up on the blog site where all of our stuff can be found. If you've never been there, I'm going to quick bring that up. So here is our site at aka.ms/HLS blog. That's aka.ms/HLS blog. That'll always get you there. So if you go there, you'll see there are many other things. For example, I have another series going on with Del Rowe, and we just posted the other day managing agents, right? So that was managing agents in SharePoint. The next one is managing Agent Builder. So we have a management session that's going on there, and we keep releasing content, but lots of other stuff, including if you scroll on down and hit the show more, you can see we have lots of content. This webinar series, and just for the last little bit here, this is the series, and you can see today we're doing agents with Agent Builder. Next will be Copilot Studio, and then Azure AI Foundry. However, if you go to the site, you'll see this will be posted as a standalone following today's session. All right, so let's get back to our presentation. Oops, hit the wrong one. And there we go. So following that, next up, we're going to be talking about Copilot being the UI for AI real quickly. That's something that I want to keep hammering home because it is very important. And I'll tell you why when I get to that. Then we're going to go over quickly just Agent Builder in Copilot Chat, how you can leverage it. And then we're going to get straight into the demo. I want to spend time showing you how, and then allowing time for you, the attendees, to leverage it yourself. Try stuff, ask questions. You know, it's called a micro hack. We'll have like 20 minutes or so, which is more than enough time to build several of these. So as you'll see in just a moment. And then we'll have the last any final Q&A, and we'll close up. So Copilot is the UI for AI. If you've been watching Microsoft presentations around Copilot, you've probably heard this a million times. You're like, Mike, I'm sick of it. So, who cares? Well, I'll tell you why. This is why it's important. So we're going to be going into Copilot Chat. And Copilot Chat is really starting to transform, and you're going to see many announcements over the next several months around this as things are happening, but it really is becoming the cornerstone for all things AI in the corporate workspace, right? Whether you're at a healthcare provider, a payer, a pharmaceutical company, clinical trials company, medical device, or any industry, financial services, etc. That single place where you can go to work with AI across not only your Microsoft content, but other repositories of information really is becoming that Copilot Chat. We're continuing to evolve that, to bring it forward, to make it that single place to go and start your day and start all things. And you're going to continue to see more of that with some serious announcements coming out over the next few months. I know I had one customer got very excited because we out of nowhere announced researcher and analyst as additions. Are like, oh my goodness, we've been waiting for something like this. So we're going to continue to flesh all that out, but just important to keep that in mind. If you're looking to build your own UI entry places, please stop, talk to your Microsoft account team, talk to your Microsoft technical specialist like myself, and don't. Just don't. It's not going to be worth your effort. Leverage what we're providing, and that can even be talking to other AI. So having said that, let's go ahead. I'm not going to beat a dead horse to death. But, real quickly, as we talk about low code options for creating agents, certainly there are options to do full code. In our last one with Azure AI Foundry, they'll get into a lot of that. But you can go full stack. But there is tremendous power. Last week, we covered this SharePoint, right? So agents in SharePoint. Today, we're covering Copilot Studio Agent Builder. That's the full name. I just call it Agent Builder. And you'll see that's where you can just go into Copilot chat, whether it's standalone or in Teams, and you can rock and roll, start creating agents if you're so permissioned, and then leverage them for yourself, share them with your team and others. And then certainly next week, we're going to see Copilot Studio. But just a couple of things. Number one, who's this targeted at? IT, certainly. It's a great way to create production quality agents and end users, right? So like myself. So internally at Microsoft, although I'm technical and I can do things in studio and do all kinds of goodies, I'm not permissioned for all that internally, but I am permissioned to leverage Agent Builder to create applications or agents that meet my needs and that I can share with my broader team to meet their needs, and it's working together. It does things around search and retrieval. Where users access it is in the Copilot chat UI, as you'll see, and in Teams. And when I say in Teams, it's because in Teams, we light up Copilot chat, right? So that's really what it's about. It's all about the chat UI. And we support a couple of things. General web content. So when this first rolled out, that was not. And many users, some of you attending today might be thinking, wait a minute, you can't add a website, public website. You can, and we're gonna today. You can also add anything that's connected with Microsoft Graph connectors. We have over 1,200 Graph connectors out there in the ecosphere, in the world, blah, blah. I mean, you can pull in all kinds of data. We're going to actually leverage one for ServiceNow today in combination with internal intranet website data. And I'll show you how you'll be able to create a great agent very quickly. And that's when I had to delete. And then finally, SharePoint sites, folders, or even specific files. If need be, you can reference an individual SharePoint file. Maybe you have a large file around project management, and it has all the documentation around processes, procedures in a single doc. Reason over it. Boom. And you can do that. That's all, except that it is shareable across the organization. You can share it. I'll show you how you can share that. The capability depends on billing model. So, whether this is free, if it's something just looking at the public internet, it's not consuming anything. If you are using consumption-based, letting users access it, this agent that you create, and it's looking at internal graph and information, they either need to have the Copilot license or you are set up in a pay-as-you-go. That's in our management session. I'm not going to go deeply into that, but that's all there as well. All right. So how do you do one? And then we're going to actually do it. I see people, you're posting into chat. Do not post in the chat. Post in the QA. I guess you can post in the chat. I see you there. Okay. What about educational versions? It should be the same. I am not attached to education. I'm attached to healthcare and life sciences. So I'll show you technically how all this works. You'll have to talk to your account team about the licensing on that. What if I want to create a chat bot on my website? Absolutely. You can. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's so stupid simple. You're going to be like, what? I love it. All right. So real quickly, I'm not going to, because we're going to actually do this. I will post this deck with these steps and everything as a PDF along with the recording so you can have it. But real quickly, you're going to go ahead and you're going to open up agents in Copilot chat, whether in Teams or standalone. And when I say standalone, that can be via the bottom of your taskbar. It can be via the web UI. You can do it. But it's just getting a Copilot chat, one of the user interfaces for it. You're going to define your agent's purpose. I'll show you. Just can tell it what you want to do. You're going to add your organization's data. the data sources that are necessary, define the behavior. I'm not going to do that because what I'm going to show you is if you define the purpose, you don't need to define the behavior. You can modify it. But if you're going in and trying to build that from scratch, quit spinning wheels. I'll show you what you can do. Make that a lot easier. You're going to try your agent, test it out. You can add any customizations. You're going to publish it, share it, and use it. And it's quick, it's easy. And guess what? We're into the demonstration. So I'm going to go ahead. We have 3 agents that I'm going to show you how to build. I'm going to walk along. If you want to try doing something similar to what I'm doing as I'm doing it, feel free. I've got the chat open since I have people now posting in QA. I guess I'll just keep skipping back and forth. Can we get a link to the management session about Copilot agents? Sure. Let's do that. I'll give you that real quick. That's an easy do. Here we go. Here we go. Here's the link. Oh, this is SharePoint. I can give you the SharePoint one. The next one is going to be published. It's coming up. But I will go ahead and respond to you where you asked the question. I guess I'm just going to keep toggling between QA and chat. There you go. There's that link. All right. Now let's go ahead and get out of here. And we're going to begin by opening up Copilot chat. And you can see I have it here. RIT has enabled it. So it shows up in the taskbar. It shows up in Teams. It shows up in the web view. I get it everywhere. But here's Copilot chat. And actually, I'm sorry, we're going to start in a demo environment. So this one I can do it. We'll do it in Teams. You can see exact same UI because we're going to start with a clinician's tip sheet agent. So a lot of folks have a scenario like this where you have a repository of a lot of documents. Here I have actual clinician tip sheets. These are official ICD-10 code tip sheets around patients, and it talks about how to do things like, do the diagnostic behaviors, how to get the diagnostic information, how to treat them there, how to do follow-up, has all this information there. And many hospitals I work with have this. You can have something else. It could be project management documentation and all of that. The problem is where you have these large repositories is you could search, but then you get back 1 of 10 of 10 trillion million, and you got to reason through that, look at the docs yourself, find the information. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to go to the website. I want to bring it to me, right? So we're going to do that. We're going to do it really simply. And we're going to do that by starting here in Copilot chat. In this case, it's in Teams. Again, this lights up in Teams. You can see here it is right here because my IT has turned it on. If you don't see it turned on for you here in Teams, when you're in chat in Teams, if you don't see it up here, you can add it to your sidebar simply by going here and clicking View More Apps, search for Copilot. Oh, there it is. Click on it, right? And then once you have it there, you can go ahead and you can, I have it pinned already. You can pin it. So just to let you know, you can do that so you always have Copilot at your fingertips. If it's enabled for you, simply go in here and you'll find out real quick. You'll search for Copilot. If it shows up, pin it on your left rail. But we're in here, and to get started to create an agent for that clinician's tip sheet piece, I'm going to come in here and notice I can get agents, or I can create an agent. So I'm going to select create an agent. You can do this too if you have a website or a document library you want to try this on. And what I'm going to do is I do have the option to come into configure from scratch, right? But I don't want to do that. Oh, and I'm not in the learn. Let me get out of there. I want to be in the Copilot. There we go. Create an agent. And so here you can see when I click create, it lets me know it's here to help me. It does have some templates like a career coach, customer insights, idea coach. If I click view all templates, I can see a range of them. And we continue to add to this. So, there's a Scrum assistant, a writing coach, prompt coach, meeting coach, learning coach, bunch of ideas here. We're not doing that. I could go in and directly configure from scratch, but I don't recommend that. And that has to do with this portion here, instructions. What I do recommend is come in here and tell Copilot what you're wanting to do. So because I am the world's slowest typist, I've already typed that out, put it in Notepad, and I said, create an agent that helps clinicians at the hospital ask questions where the answers can be found in clinician tip sheets. Clinicians may be looking for the ICD-10 codes. They may be looking for information on diagnostic workup. They may be looking for information on management and treatment. They may be looking for information related to documentation and follow-up. Now, it's not important that you have the same wording. You want to make something that's pertinent to a source that you're looking at, right? So, and it could be around project management, but tell it what you want to do, and then go ahead and submit your prompt. So it's now going to look at my prompt. Copilot's looking at it, examining it. And it says, oh, well, let's determine first a name for the agent. And it says, how about clinician assistant? I'll just say yes. That sounds just great. So it's now given it a name. It said, now let's refine the instructions for it. Let's define what the agent should do, what specific tasks should it perform. And based off of what I prompted it to, it said, for example, should it provide ICD-10 codes, diagnostic workup information? I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. I could say, use your example. I'll just put that there. Boom. And it's going to think on it just a moment. Look at that. I have a title. It's taken from my prompt and given a description of this already. This is already done. I haven't done anything except told it what I want to do, right? It's given suggested prompts that I can edit. I'll show you that. So now let's determine if there's any publicly accessible data sources. There is not. I'm not going to the internet. We're going to do SharePoint. So I'm just going to say, I'll just leave it. We're going to ignore it, and we'll go to configure. So here you can see, here is our agent. I could change the picture by going here. We're going to leave that. Notice this under instructions. It built those out, right? How the how the AI should be responding based upon what I asked it to do. So that's why I was saying, don't go in from scratch, because you're going to flounder with the instructions on letting it know things. It's easier if you tell it what to do, then go in and edit, right? So very quickly, it's built all this out. Now I do need to give it a knowledge source. So that particular one we were looking at is a SharePoint doc library. I have the URL right here. I'm going to click outside, and boom, it found it, clinician tips. There's the folder. So it now has that. I have some other options. So number one, turned off by default, web search. If I enable that, that means it'll look at that repository and the public internet. I don't want that. This is an authoritative repository. I want to restrict my results only to the content in there. So I'm going to keep that. Now, if I had something IT related, I could do, for example, code interpreter, where people could drop in some code, like some JavaScript or HTML, have it analyze it, give suggestions. I don't need that. I could say image generator. Again, maybe, so if people want to create pictures for the work they're doing, maybe they're looking up something, I could do that. I'm going to leave that off as well for this particular one. Here's these suggested prompts. I'm not going to change it, but notice you do have the ability to have up to 6. That is the limit. So notice it says add new, and then when I moused over that, I get the no symbol. That's because I'm at my max. So you get a maximum of 6 versus an agent in SharePoint, which only gives you 3. So it's all pretty good. I can come in here now. I can start to test it, but I'm just going to go ahead and say create. It's creating the agent for me. Now, it's important to note when it creates this agent, there's only one person permission for it. Only one person that can see it. That is me. So notice it says your agent was created successfully. This link works only for you. And it says you can change your sharing settings. So see, it has only for you. I could do specific users, where I could add name, groups, or email, right? Or I could say anyone in the org. So I'm getting all that right here. I'm going to just copy that link. I'm going to save. So now it's saving my settings. And so I can, again, I can do that. And then I can say, go to the agent. When I go to agent, it's going to invoke it. And boom, there it is, clinician assistant. So now I have my new agent that's here. I can come in here and ask it questions. So, I could say, what are the ICD 10 codes for heart ailments? Because I have several, I think, in there about heart. I'm just making this up off the top. I literally did not practice that. It's off the top of my head. So here we go. So it's giving me some ICD-10 codes, and it tells me what they are. We have here essential, and these are based off of this library, right? And notice each one of them then has a link to that particular document. So that's all referenced in here. I could continue to question and iterate, but now I've got a useful agent. Excuse me, I've been talking all day. A useful agent as a clinician. This could be you for project management, for anything else where you're looking at one or more repositories. I added one, you could add several. You could add 2, 3, 4. You add what you need to do there. But now I've got this very useful agent. The next step might be, though, that I want to come in here and I can take a look about it, send feedback, look at the settings for it. If I want to enable web content or not. And then also with this, we can come over here, I can uninstall it. But the bigger thing is, now that I have that, I can go ahead, I can come back here into the view where I click create an agent, and I'll go specifically to this clinician one. And so now I want to share this out with my team because I enabled it, permission it. I can click share. I can simply send this link, right, to anyone that needs to have it. When they click it, they're going to get a pop-up dialog box that'll allow them to go ahead and click, and then it'll open up in their teams and be available, and you're done. All right, so that's the easiest one, a quick internal. Any questions on this before we move on? Everybody's quiet. All right. If you have a question, you can post it either in QA or chat. I'm monitoring both, so feel free. But that's the quickest and easiest, right? Identify a document library source and then share it out. I've done this internal for teams, for different groups. We had a production one for our division and that I built real quickly, looking at several data sources. And this is so easy. It's powerful, right? All right. So getting ready to move on. I do see we have another question. Any way to customize and add more prompts? So you can only have a maximum of 6, but as you saw, I'll come back here into the edit view, right? So clinician assistant. So these 6 prompts, I can come into here. I can change, give it a different title, and change the entire prompt. So that's where I can go in and do that, right? And is that anyone in the org that is licensed can access? Yes, so that management one that's coming out, we'll go into all the nitty gritty about that. But suffice it to say, number one, IT has the ability to control who can see these things, who can access them, and who cannot. So that is important. Who can also create, and there's all that. You have all kinds of controls around that. So that's important to know. If they don't have a license, though, you can still make it available to people to use. For example, I have a healthcare organization that has a similar agent they wanted to do. And they had clinicians who are not Copilot licensed users. They had the option, and they are now doing what is known as pay as you go. So it can be consumption based versus license based. So you have two different models. That's something to talk to your account team about as far as what makes sense before you reach a tipping point where somebody might need a license versus just consuming. But if you have people who like a set audience that you want to provide a specific agent for, you can absolutely do that and have them do pay as they go without the full license. And I think that was it. Can you link to your company Coupa? What's a Coupa? I see it says, can you link it to our company Coupa? I don't know what Coupa is, so you're going to have to let me know, Sally. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, so I'm going to get into other data sources in just a second. So that's the one we're going to do here. The other two I'm going to do with production. I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm racing here. I want to get to other people here doing these. So let's go ahead. And I am in Copilot chat right here. And next, we're going to do a tech support agent. Yikes. Like many orgs here at Microsoft, we have an intranet around tech support. All kinds of stuff posted in that. It's up here. I'll bring that up. It's called Tech Web. And there is tons of content up here in Tech Web. Tons of content. Besides Tech Web, though, we also have ServiceNow, which many customers also have. So ServiceNow is available. In ServiceNow, we have a very customized and populated knowledge base, right? There's not only the tickets, there's a bunch of stuff you can do with ServiceNow. So we have content of our own in 365 with our intranet site here around Tech Web and ServiceNow content. And I had a customer one time say, what if we have two sources like that? How do we do that? And so I built one on the fly. So let's just build it. And I was like, I liked it so much I kept it. Now I deleted it for you all for this session, but we're going to take a look on how to build this, right? I'll get to your question in just a moment. I saw somebody asked an additional here in the QA, but let me get started with this. So to build that support one that I can have anytime, anywhere. And by the way, you got a phone? You got Teams on your phone? Let me open up Teams. If you're in Teams and you're in the chat portion of Teams, right? Up at the top, no, I don't want to join the meeting. Up at the top, you'll see the Copilot icon if IT has enabled it for Teams. And when I click that, guess what? I come in here in the chat and there's a little, like the ellipsis, and then my agents are all going to pop. So I can get to all these same things on my phone, mobile. But I digress. Let's go ahead. We're going to build an agent. We're going to say create an agent. And so for this particular agent, I'm going to say, oh no, I didn't say anything there. So we're just going to do it on the fly. I thought I typed something. Create a IT tech support, sorry, I'm slow, tech support agent that lets me ask questions and get answers around technical matters from our Tech Web and the ServiceNow knowledge base. There we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that. Sorry, I didn't think that one through ahead of time and have it ready, but we're going to go ahead and do it. Oh, here we go. So about network issues, software installation, it's already suggesting stuff, right? It asked me for a suggested name. I'll just say yes to this one again. Boom, the name's going to change just like that. There we go, tech support assistant. Great, now let's refine it for any instructions. I'm just going to copy, say provide. There we go, boom. And now that that's done, it's going to ask me about sources. I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to go to configure. So it pulled back based upon that further query I gave. So I can add some here if I desire. There's the instructions. I'm going to add my knowledge sources. So the first one is this website. I'm just going to copy that link. Simple, easy, to the point. I don't want public web information. Now you can see Tech Web is added. Now here it says from your organization. So any Microsoft Graph connectors that your org has set up and wants to make available to you, you can have access here. They have to make it available, permission it to you. But when they are, I'm going to say see more. So you can see on Microsoft, we have Azure ones for DevOps, enterprise websites, MediaWiki, ServiceNow catalog, ServiceNow tickets, IT folks, and then knowledge, right? So let's say I'm a physician. I want this thing. I want that knowledge base because I don't know all the tech stuff for my computers. I'm going to select the drop down. And you can see here it has the help desk, the knowledge. I'm just going to go ahead and select this top. There we go, ServiceNow. And I'm going to leave it at that. Once I've got that, I'm going to come on down. And again, I could then go into code interpreter, image. I don't care about that. I'll leave these three, but notice now it's not. So I could come in and say add right from here. I could add additional. And then when I'm ready, I click create. So while that's creating, I'm going to look real quickly. So the first one was, this was after the last demo, great demo. You mentioned the new researcher and analyst agents. How do you try those? You have to be on early release. I actually posted this out on LinkedIn the other day. You got to be on early release, and so that you're getting that. And that is starting to roll out in early release now for you to try those now in something we're calling the Frontier program. It's nothing you sign up separately for. You just got to be enabled for early release. So talk to your IT, make sure you're set up for that for 365. What about non-Microsoft applications? Well, this is, so ServiceNow is a non-Microsoft application. That is a third-party hosted service. It could be ServiceNow. We have over 1,200 connectors and the ability to create custom connectors. You can go into Studio. You're not going to do that here, but you can create a custom connector here or full stack code. But you can go in and create your own custom connectors, IT, make those available. So basically anything can be made available if you so desire. So it says your agent was created successfully. I'm not sharing this to everybody else. I'm just going to go ahead and say go to agent. And so now I have, there it is, my tech support assistant. And I'll just use one of the generics in here. How can I fix my computer when it won't start? I worked tech support at one time years ago. I remember the joke was, have you plugged it in? Or we had somebody say, check the power cord. It's plugged in, but their power was out. So here you go. So it's gone ahead. It's looked at those sources, tech support. It has some general troubleshooting tips, advanced troubleshooting tips, additional resources, and links to those. So this one here is from ServiceNow. This one here is ServiceNow. There, it looks like they all are. And ServiceNow. So there you go. So the general ones, I think it pulled from SharePoint. Then we have ServiceNow direct links in, and you could go and look at them. But you can see now I'm pulling from an internal and a third-party data source. with that. Does that connect with? I have no idea what Coupa is. Never heard of it, so I can't tell you that. Sorry, I don't know what it is. So you'd have to look. If not, then you'd have to create a custom connect. You'd have to have IT create a custom connector. You can certainly look up or ask Coupa. Contact them. Most of these are supplied by third party. Those connectors, like the ServiceNow one, you can go to their website, grab it, your IT, and install it and set it up. So there we go. So we've got now another agent. The last one I want to show you is to a public site. So I'm going to come on back here to Copilot. And in this case, if you're familiar, there is I think I have it up. Yeah. So Microsoft Learn is where we've got documentation around everything, including Copilot. And what if I wanted to bring this site to me? So I'm not going here searching on the internet. I want to bring like if I go here, right? Product documentation, view all products. There is all the official documentation. Like if I go to Copilot, right? Where are we at here? Copilot. They got a whole learning hub and information there. I mean, I could go on, and there's just tons of Microsoft 365 documentation, all the products there. There's so much stuff up here. It's like a wealth of information. What if I want to bring this to my fingertips? Maybe your public website. Maybe it's the NIH, medical repository online, or the CDC, or some other place that's an official repository that's open. I'm going to bring this, though, so I'm going to go ahead and say, come on back here to my agent. I'm going to say create an agent. Create an agent that lets me get answers quickly from Microsoft Learn. Short and sweet, to the point. And there we go. Ask about a specific topic, request a tutorial, seek troubleshooting, ask for best practices, inquire about futures. Let's determine the name. Learn quick answers. And I'm going to say no. I want this to be the MS. No. Name it the MS Learn Agent. Dun, 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 dun. So there we go. It's now named it. What specific actions should it do? Should it search for? I'm going to leave it because I kind of like that there. I'm just going to skip straight over to configure. And you can see here now, it would have prompted me after that for the public source, which I could have done. But I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to copy my URL that I already grabbed. I could have also done it from the website. learn.microsoft.com/en/US. So that's for me. I can enable the wide open web. I don't want to do that. I do, though, for Learn, because you might be code. Maybe I want to turn on code interpreter and get back here. And then let's turn on image generator just for giggles. And we'll leave these as is. I'm going to go ahead and say create. So now I've got my own personal help desk, right? Customers ask me questions all the time, and I go searching for documentation. Just have it here for me at my fingertips. There we go. And I could have added multiple sources because, as we know, Microsoft has stuff all over on the public web. So here it is. And so look at this. How do I troubleshoot a failed Azure deployment? I have no idea. I don't work with Azure. So why don't I go ahead? I'll submit that. And I see somebody just asked a question. And here we go. Common errors. And it's running through. Boom. And there we go. So we have our troubleshooting, and I can continue to query, drill in on this. It has resources. It says if you need further assistance, feel free to ask. And here's those data sources. But I had somebody say, how do you edit? I'll show you that in just a moment. So, I've created this piece here, right? I've also added create an image of an IT professional. I like to do that. Right. Orcas are my favorite animal. Writing an orca with holding while holding a laptop. There we go. Oh, and let's say create a photo. I don't know if it's going to do photorealistic of this, but we'll try it. Why not? Create a photorealistic image. Did I do that? Photo, spell that right. Get rid of that. See? Photorealistic image of an IT professional writing an orca while holding a laptop. And notice it says using the Canvas plugin, sure. And it's now building me 4 possible renditions of this. I can submit code to review. I can ask questions of that vast repository of Microsoft knowledge that's out there in Microsoft Learn. It's now all on my fingertips, including my phone, right? And again, this could be for anything. And there we go. I kind of like this. So there we go. Let's take a look at it. There's my image. I love this. I'm going to download that. That's pretty cool. I could have been more descriptive and gotten a different image, had different sunglasses, whatever. But there you go. So the power of this, I added a little silly thing at the end, but you can see the power of this is kind of cool. I didn't even notice that. There we go. We have that, and we have flying orcas in the background. Who thunk? But there you can see we can do so many things quickly. So we did very quickly, and I'd like to, we have almost 15 minutes left. I'm going to show you the one question on editing, and then I want to open this up and let people try things, ask questions if you're having an issue. So the question, though, was asked, how do you go and edit? I'm hopeful. I'm going to be blunt with everybody. I'm hopeful they will change how you access this. It is not the most intuitive. I didn't say that, but I did. So there we go. So where you're going to go to get to your agent to be able to edit, to see all your agents, you could go to the agent itself. Like we just did this particular one, right? And I can come up here and I can click settings, and then I can see some things about some of my agents here. But if you select create an agent, this is where I said this is counterintuitive. Create an agent and go to the top, and it says my agents, my agent. I can either see it here, or I can say view all agents. These are the agents I've been doing, messing around. And so here is that MS Learn agent, and you click the little pencil edit. And now you're in the edit function. So now you can go ahead. Like I said, not the most intuitive. I hope that changes. But if it doesn't, now you know how. All right. So we've created 3 agents, an internal repository one that looked at an internal repository web pages, along with a third-party resource, which was ServiceNow, knowledge-based catalog. And then we did a public-facing one. And you could add all 3 in combinations. But here's the thing. We are at 15 after. We have 15 more minutes. Now is the time, if you have access, open up and try building an agent. Give it a shot. If you don't know where chat is, again, you can go out here. There's a couple of places that you can find it. Number 1, if you're in Teams. Oops. And that's because I got Teams over here. I'll do it in this view. If you're in Teams and you want to add it, simply go to View More Apps, type in Copilot, and then you'll be able to click it, and you'll get chat pinned up here, like so, that you can then use. And if you are permissioned, you'll see both get agents, by the way, that takes you to the agent catalog, of which there's a whole slew. I'm not going to wait for that to render. And there is the create. So you have that. The other place you can look, if you are in a web view, click here, and it may look like the old Microsoft 365, but notice how this says now Microsoft 365 Copilot. It's been updated on mine. If I click that, I get it through this web view right here. So now here we go. Click Copilot, you're in chat. And you can see I can work here and do that. And then finally, if IT has made it available, you might have it at the bottom like I do. But if you have questions, now's the time. Post any kind of questions you have. I want to give you these minutes to go through. I'll highlight some as I'm waiting on questions or comments. I'll highlight some resources for you, but definitely take a look in here. I'm going to post in the chat. Oh, I see we have our first question. It says, have you seen this documentation on licensing suggest users without 365 can use certain type of agents if they have E3 or other licensure that gives them Copilot chat? Yes, I have. So this is the, let's get in, let me hit the nitty gritty. And by the way, coming back again to the blog, I'm going to do my shameless plug. We'll come back here. We actually talk about that right here in Agent Control and managing Copilot chat. So those two both have that here where you can, where we talk about it. But here's the, this is what you're able to do that incurs no licensing. If number one, we've made available Copilot chat can be enabled for all users in your organization. I have several very large orgs that have bought thousands and even tens of thousands of full Copilot chat licenses, but they're huge orgs, like 100,000 plus. And what they've been doing is enabling Copilot chat for all users. What that gives them is chat that when I'll come up here, notice mine says work and it says web. Now, if they don't have a license, they won't see this, but it will give them the web. So what it does is give them Copilot's ability to ask questions of the internet right here, right? So they can come in and they could say, you know, what is Microsoft Copilot? Ask a question, boom, and it's going to go through, explain it. Is there something you need specific help with? Can you help me find resources for Copilot training and adoption? So instead of searching the internet, I come here. Absolutely. Look, as it's describing them, it's giving me the sources. Copilot Success Kit. This is adoption resources and adoption playbook. So I'm getting all this stuff right here, right? So you get that for free. Now, as far as agents go, if you create an agent that's accessing a third party or your Microsoft internal resources and you make that available to them, that has to have either the license or the pay as you go. But to provide them an agent that gives them, basically, if you think about Chat GPT, right? The free public version, people go there and do stuff, or they go to Google or other sources. We give it to you here, but with a big difference. Enterprise data protection is enabled by default for all users of 365. So when they go to use chat here, we anonymize the thing. We don't put that whole prompt, does not go out to the internet and Bing. We only pull keywords. We don't store any of that. We don't train the models with the questions and data here. Like if you go to those free versions, you do your data, everything you ask it and that you point to, it all gets captured and pulled into train their models and for ongoing information. We safeguard you from all that. So that I'll try to remember to put a link to that. I've talked about that in other chats, but so we do that. That's what you get for free. All right, I see we had another question or two. Let's see. I teach. Can I create an agent and put it in my course? How do I do that? So can you put it into your course? So you can copy that link. Remember when I came in here? Let me go in. Let's take I'll go to my agent, my learn agent, right? We have here share. Now, if I said anyone in the org or my, whatever, there is a link that I get. But understand this, it's going to create a pop-up and then put it and then generate and drop it into Teams and pull them into Teams for that. It's not going to be a direct link. Now, there is, in the last time when they talked about SharePoint ones, if it's just a repository of information internally, you could do that. You also could do that for Studio, but just to show you real quickly, if I come back here to this one, and here's this clinicians library, I can create an agent in SharePoint real quick. I could edit this. I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to say open the agent. It's going to show me the agent over here, and I get this share option. That gives me a hyperlink that I can copy. That link I can use anywhere. And in fact, what I did here, let me close this. You'll see that I actually did it. And if you put that kind of a link in, when somebody clicks it, like I did here, it'll just give them a web pop-up to that agent. So the answer is yes and no. Go back and look at the SharePoint one if it's a repository. If not, understand the Teams ones are to bring you into Copilot chat. Those chat ones that I was showing, that's where it brings you into. So you can put the link there, certainly, but it's going to then bring them over into the chat UI for doing that. Hope that answers your question. Are there any other questions? We have 7 minutes remaining. I'm happy to answer any and all questions. I highly recommend, go out and create a support one for yourself. The one that we did, this Learn Agent, if you got some public sources, I could have had more than just that. Let's say I went to, we went to Learn, say Microsoft End User Training for Microsoft 365. I know we have a whole bunch of stuff out there. Train your users. Here we go. There's 2 different ones. On Office and Office 365, resources for the enterprise. What's this one here? Streamline end user training, resources, the adoption library. So I could add, these URLs to that and have additional pieces, right? So anywhere where you have any of that, Microsoft Docs, that's where we grabbed the earlier one. That's this one that we saw earlier. Admin portal, that's internal. Learn more about the Microsoft Skills Initiative. Oh, these are just more information, but you can go ahead, add additional resources that are out there and set that up for people. So let's say train your users. I want to go to the Office Training Center. Oh, that's old. Not found anymore. Well, that's not good. That's pretty old, this thing here. Oh, well. So, but you can see how you can go out and add. You just need the URL. So what else do we have? I have another question. External sources with an API, for example, HubSpot. Are they as simple to query now as you demonstrated with Snow? I know nothing about Snow. I'm not a developer, so I'll tell you that right off. But having said that, So I do know people have built stuff with Snow. You have to build the connector, right? As long as there's an API, you build the connector. So if you have the ability to, and when you build it, that means you're going to have to take into account how you permission and do all that, right? Because it might have a different permissioning scheme than what you're using with M365. You can absolutely build a custom one. I do encourage you, though, if you're a customer of a particular application, ask them about their plans. Like I said, there's over 1,200 available today. That's a lot of connectors. If your company that you're working with does not have one, I would ping them, because then the onus on support and maintenance is on them and not on you. So just a thought. All right, ServiceNow. Yeah, ServiceNow has it. ServiceNow is awesome. Like the ones I showed you, you can go to the ServiceNow site and look for the Microsoft 365 Graph Connector. And that's what I used here in this particular one. And if you come over here, you can see these are the ones my IT is. When you install the connector, you get availability to all this. That's pretty cool, right? So I don't get this org tickets that's reserved only, so it's been not permissioned to me. That's only for our IT help desk support folks. But you can see I can get all kinds of other stuff, right? Get the general help desk ticket where I can submit one. I can't see everybody's, but I can submit them. I get access to the help desk, the service knowledge base, and also to the catalog. So all kinds of stuff is out there, right? ServiceNow is definitely one. I've seen people connecting Salesforce. There's a whole range, SAP, a whole range of ones out there. And get the Graph Connector set up, have them add it to here and rock and roll. End users shouldn't have to worry about that. They just come in and access it. We have 2 minutes left. Any other additional questions? Give it a moment. So just to recap then, while we're waiting, go ahead. I do want to thank everybody for joining as we are at 1 minute till the end of the session. As always, you can find us at aka.ms/HLS blog. I do see, great hat. Oh, thank you. I'm a balding old man. I like my hats. Giddy up. There we go. But you can go to the HLS blog. And like I said, we have a whole management series. We have this present one that we're doing live next week. We have different people coming in to talk about using Copilot Studio for more, for much richer building. And then we have Azure AI Foundry. And then later today, I record the first podcast of our agent solutions. So I'll be with our cloud service architects, and we're recording one on how to set it up with Viva, not our Viva, VEEVA, Viva Vault. So setting up the connector with Viva Vault so you can query Viva Vault with Copilot. And we're going to be doing it around a bunch of sessions. And that one's not going to be limited. It's just going to be ongoing because, we got 1,200 connectors and we're adding to it. So that is it for me. What podcast series? So let me just quickly show you. So if you come to our site, right, there's a podcast series here. Like if I click on the latest, this is the management one. So if you click on it, it says see the entire 365 Copilot and Copilot Agents Management series. It will bring you to this page. And you can see we have released 5 of the 8 podcasts that we are doing. The other ones are coming. Additionally, there is this particular series at the HLS blog, aka.ms/HLS blog. And so that it can be found. You have to scroll down. And this was posted by our own Jaspreet. When you click on there, this announcing. It has the sessions that we are doing as live webinars. After we then today, later today, in about an hour, I meet with our cloud solutions architects to record the first of what we're calling podcast solutions series, which is just going to be ongoing. We're looking to do weekly, every other week at the latest. I will be posting a post about it here once we're done. But again, I'm just going to post this into the chat. Oh, thank you. And so https:// aka.ms/HLS blog. There we go. And post. So there's the link here in the QA. So you can grab that. And that's the place to follow and monitor. You can also find me on LinkedIn if you're so inclined. And I'll post my link, my personal one. So if I go to LinkedIn, you can always hit me up on LinkedIn, and I'm always posting our latest stuff there. So here we go. This is my LinkedIn link. There we go. And that is now in there. You can take that. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and have a great day. With that, we're going to close out. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording. We'll do that first.